I am nervous. This is, believe it or not, my biggest and most powerful helicopter to date. Okay, I've had some fun on the channel recently and over the years with some smaller, more tame, very beginner-friendly helicopters, and this one is my next step in the advancement of my progression in this part of the hobby. This is a brushless, very powerful helicopter in comparison to the things that I've been flying, and it is still somewhat beginner friendly because it should have auto stabilization or kind of like an auto level flight system built into it. I want to put these things to the test today, the true test. It's one thing for me to get in front of the camera and say, hey guys, this airplane's beginner friendly, and I'm no pro. No one's gonna pay me money to see me fly, but I'm a fairly skilled RC pilot. I can keep most airplanes in the air. But when I say that this is a beginner-friendly kind of stepping stone helicopter, it really does put things to the test because I'm a little bit afraid of this thing. Now it does come in completely ready to fly. I picked up the package with 3 batteries. That's a bold move on my part because I'm hoping this doesn't crash on the first flight. I'm really hoping to get a lot of flights out of this. If I'm going to advance my skills, this is the helicopter to help me do that, or at least one of the few that are on the market. It has a nice 2S battery with an XT30 plug. It comes with, surprisingly, a USB charge cable. It took maybe an hour or so to charge each battery. I really didn't time it, but I got 2 of my 3 batteries charged for today. And those of you that have watched regularly will know that I'm stalling right now by talking more. The more I talk, the less I have to fly, right? The less I fly, the less likely I am to crash. This ought to be a good video because helicopter flights either go well or they just are very, very traumatic.
I enjoy seeing you squirm on this.
Yeah, because I push you to advance your airplane skills all the time. Today boy, I'm nervous. There's a nice brushless motor up front.
Let's fly.
The tail rotor is also a brushless motor. That's very worth pointing out. I've got the batteries charged. Let's put it in the air and see if it really is beginner friendly. This is a collective pitch helicopter, and it just makes me nervous, Abby. There we go. There we go. Okay. All right. All right. Maybe I wasn't throttling up enough. I think that's the case. Got to get about over 50% throttle. It does sound scary, but she's flying. Okay. This is what most of the guys at our airfield do when they fly their helicopters. They do just hover in one place. And now I see why. Let's give a little bit of yaw. There's my first 360. Let's go the other way. Oh yeah. Okay. Now I'm gonna just keep this as tame as possible on this flight because I really just don't know what to expect. This is one of those helicopters that just sounds mean. You don't want to mess up on this because if you do, boom, 100 pieces most of the time when helicopters crash, especially when you start doing the inverted stuff. I want to keep it up there in the blue sky so it looks okay on camera for just a second. I'm just letting this puppy cruise around. So it does seem to have the auto level thing in place. You know, you pull right on the right stick and then you let go and it levels out. Now it's still going to keep drifting off in that direction because it doesn't have something called what do all the drones have, Abby?
I forget everything I have ever known about drones.
Visual position hold. There's no camera on the bottom of this that's going to hold it in place, but it does self-center, so that helps a lot for me because if you get disoriented flying in opposite directions, that's when you can really mess things up. Wow. This is really cool that this is in the air. Now I'm afraid to drop it below 50% throttle, just to be honest with you guys, because when I do, it falls down much quicker. You see how fast it dropped down, and I just barely went under 50% throttle. I have high and low rates. Let's see if I can tell if I'm in high or low rate. There's full pitch, left and right. Now I'm going to throw that switch up, and I can't really feel much of a difference. No, I really can't. There's a high-low rate switch, but maybe that doesn't apply when the stabilization mode is on. So I'm just going to get the helicopter a little closer and not worry about the high-low rates. Throttle hold does work. When I flip that switch, It didn't let the main blade spin up, so that's good if you need to test things like your servos for the collective pitch blades. Well, I hope I'm getting all the terminology right.
They'll let you know.
Oh, I know. Most people are pretty nice about it.
I know.
See how it's up, down really fast? That's because I'm right in between 50% throttle, just playing with throttle, hovering between 40 and 60%. So if it goes up and down like that, that is me making the adjustment on the throttle stick. Minute touches. This is going to be interesting to learn how to do. I had a little tiny brushless helicopter, about half the size of this, that was not nearly as powerful, and I did manage to get a few flips in out at the golf course, if you remember that, Abby. Do you remember that? Mm-hmm. I've been able to flip and front flip, side flip, roll, whatever you want to call it, single flip at a time, and then of course throwing stabilization back on. But this one sure does scare me, and I think what I need to do is just fly like this and really get a feel for it. Take my own advice when I tell people, you know, person buys their first airplane, they want to do a loop or a roll on the very first flight. I say, no, get at least 10 flights in of doing the boring stuff before you ever give it a shot. Some guys can pull it off on their first try, but if you don't pull it off, you know, you crash. So this is one that I don't want to push myself too fast on. So this flight might just be a nice little boring cruising around, but I'll tell you what, I'm shaking at the knees. I just don't want to crash it. I'm not really worried about, you know, it hurting us or anything, although this is spinning very quickly, and I wouldn't want that main blade to smack into us, which is why we chose a spot too, that there is nobody around. In fact, we've got a nice caged in area over there. I don't really know what flight time to expect. I'm sure this will probably be my longest flight ever because I'm going easy on the juice. And if I don't crash it, then yes, it will be my longest flight ever. A helicopter like this is not for everyone, by all means. But if you have been playing around with the little ones that you've seen on our channel and you think you're ready to step up to the next stage, well, this might be one for you to do that with. And that's why I'm out here. I'm ready to progress a little bit with helicopters. I'll never be as good as the guys you see flying at competitions and stuff. Never, ever, ever. But still fun to fly. And at least try it. And you know what? For the price of this, to try to progress and everything that comes with it, that's not too bad. Sounds cool though, doesn't it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it really does. Let's, I want to fly it around a little faster. We'll just get it going around the field a little quicker now. Pitching the nose forward a little more with a little more throttle.
I already lost
okay.
you.
Right over the trees there. Oh, and I did not. There we go. You know what? I just barely pitched it forward. I throttled down. What happened was I was still in the same flight modes, the flight mode that I'm in now. I haven't changed anything. This switch is back. This one's fully up. I put this one in down position. That's just my rates, and then this is throttle hold. And all I did was pitch it forward a hair, and it decided to leave the stabilization and dive straight down. And I tried to recover, but it didn't. Helicopters, oh my gosh.
Always picking up multiple pieces, that's never good. That is never good.
Well, as far as crashes go, I suppose that wasn't too bad. This little guy, one of my landing gear runners, snapped. That could be glued back in place, but ideally you should probably replace that one. They're fairly easy to replace. And I did notice that my main rotor gear is stripped. I'm not surprised. They get stripped all the time, and I actually think it came with an extra one, so I may be able to replace that. I'm not going to attempt to spin this up because that plastic gear in here is stripped, so I'm just going to unplug this and stay safe. To say that I'm disappointed is a huge understatement. I'm very disappointed. Not the fact that I crashed, because we all crash, and that's why you guys are watching this video. My pride tells me that I shouldn't release this video so that people around the world can see Nate from the TheRcSaylors crash a beginner-friendly helicopter.
But is it beginner-friendly? I wouldn't fly that.
No, it is not.
I would not fly that.
There are some people that are marketing this as very beginner-friendly.
Well, that's because they want affiliate sales.
Yeah, this is not, okay? This is not beginner friendly. Some of the helicopters that you've seen on our channel so far are beginner friendly. And I also think this had a malfunction during flight. I'm not saying that all of these will malfunction, but if mine did, I'd say the likelihood of yours, especially this is my first flight of it, the likelihood of yours eventually malfunctioning is very high. I am disappointed, guys. I really am. It's no fun to crash, and it's never fun for a whole lot of people or anybody to see you crash. I feel obligated to sharing my crashes with you guys, especially when we get them on camera, because we show a lot of not crashing on our channel, especially when I'm flying airplanes, and I don't want people to think that crashes don't happen. There's a lot of YouTubers out there and a lot of just people in general that only talk about their successes and they don't talk about their failures. We learn from the things that we fail at, whether it's RC or anything in life, honestly. And so this is very important for me to share this with you for two reasons. One, so that you know you're not alone when you crash, and two, there may be an issue with this helicopter, and that's the point of our channel. When we did drones, and I'm talking when we did tons of drones on our channel, we got to a point where about 50% or more of them were just complete duds. I really don't want to say that this is a dud because I had my hopes set very, very high for this. Let's recap again. In stabilization mode, that should not have happened. If I were in 3D mode, where I have absolute total control of the helicopter, it would have been okay for it to dive down and my stupid thumbs make a mistake and it crash into the ground. This was not my stupid thumbs' fault. The helicopter was flying out, I rotated it around, I was pushing the right stick forward with a little bit of throttle, and when you have stabilization mode on with airplanes, drones, or even helicopters, you can push that right stick all the way forward and it shouldn't leave a certain pitch. That's the whole point of stabilization mode. What happened for me was it broke out of that, dove down, I pulled back quickly, wasn't fast enough, and I think stabilization mode fought me pulling back some. And of course, when one of these just touches the ground, they go crazy. We can look at that footage 100 times if we want to.
It was not a good shot of it. I just lost you and zoomed out.
And that's okay, that's fine. This puppy went down. I'm a person that flies RCs of one way or another like all the time. And if I crashed this in stabilization mode on the first flight, there's no way I could recommend it for you. I hate to say that because I love Eachine stuff. I love that they stepped up into a really nice hobby grade vehicle here. But that's not something I can recommend for you guys. And I hope that you that are watching appreciate that, because I hate saying that about a product. Well, I always say this on successes and failures so you can do your own research. This will be linked in the description box below. Check it out for yourself if you want to. I'm not recommending that you buy it. What we will do is recommend a true beginner-friendly helicopter that we recently featured on the channel. We'll link that down below this helicopter. If you are looking for a good recommendation, that'll be there, but it won't be as hobby grade as this, although it does actually fly. Despite my crash of this helicopter, I'm still gonna try to fix it. I'm happy that we got to get out here today and fly, even if it was short-lived, and for that, I thank God. I also want to say a huge thank you to our Patreon supporters, because now more than ever, you guys very much support our channel. Without you, we couldn't bring the honest truth that we bring, the content as often as we bring it, and 100% free for everybody watching. We all say thank you. Well guys, I told you we'll have a helicopter linked in the description box below that works and flies. We'll also have a good helicopter video popping up right about now. Thanks for watching. We'll see you there.